So good to see everyone. Welcome to Redondo Beach Center for Spiritual Living Wednesday Inspiration Service. I'm Reverend Gregory Toole, and I welcome all of you who are online on YouTube. Thank you so much for tuning in. We know that you are right here with us. There's no time or space in God. So let's begin with prayer. Let's turn within for a moment here. And so we just recognize this morning that right here, right where I am, right as I am, is the very presence of the divine, the presence of God, the presence of Spirit, the presence of whatever it is we want to call it, because it does not care what we call it. We could call it universe, life, spirit. There's that something at the center of our being and surrounding us and enfolding us and out to infinity that is an infinite love and an infinite intelligence and an infinite power and creativity, wholeness and harmony. And this one is what animates our very being. It is the very truth of our being. Everything that we say about God, about the divine, about the infinite is the truth about us. And anything that we can't say about the divine, the infinite, and God is not true about us either. So every time we say, I am, it is that I am that we're referring to. And so we each are divine expressions of that one, unique emanations, whole, perfect, and complete of the divine Spirit. And so it is in this awareness this morning that I bless our service, which means I call it good, which means I see the good in what is unfolding here this morning. And I see it and I call it good and very good. So I know that each person today, online or in person, is receiving and giving exactly what is ours to give and to receive. We're doing a divine dance here this morning, and it is a good dance, and it is opening, it is revealing, maybe even healing and transforming. And for this, I am grateful. Knowing it is so, I release this word unto that immutable law that only knows to say yes, therefore I know it is done, just as I have declared. I let it be, and we establish it together with the words, and so it is. Amen. Thank you all. We got a few announcements here today. Actually, quite a few, because we have so much going on in this center, so many good things going on, so many choices, and many of them often are either free or on a love offering basis, because I personally really want all of you to partake in any activity that you feel will lift you up and will expand you. So we really do our best to make these things really accessible and not have them be inaccessible. So before I go any further, I want to invite you to silence your phone. You know, click that little button, push that little button, whatever it is on your phone. Step on it, crush it. No, just kidding. Let's silence our phones so we won't be interrupted. This Sunday, and we're doing this like once a quarter, we have our discovery class. Which is essentially for newer people to the center to learn all about what we teach and who we are. And so you get all your questions answered. It's kind of like an orientation for newer people to the center. So we're doing it once a quarter so that everyone is in the know. The teens are starting to fundraise for winter camp. So please join them after service on August 31st for their teen bake sale. Oh, that's going to be good. Most of our teens are new to the center this year and have not witnessed the magic of CSL camp. And so please come and support them on August 31st. Buy a cookie or just make a donation. They will certainly appreciate that. Camp in Center for Spiritual Living is an amazing thing. These kids really bond with each other and give each other a lot of love. It's beautiful. Ecstatic Dance tonight, right over in Richelieu Hall at 7 p.m. Come out, especially if you've never done it before. If you've done it before, you already know how good it is, and I'm sure we'll see you there. But if you've never done it before, come try it out, because it's such a safe environment to just kind of let your body do whatever it wants to do. You cannot do it wrong, and you cannot do it right. You can just do you, and that is perfect. So Ecstatic Dance tonight, 7 p.m. Our Spanish study group, studying Science of Mind in Spanish, is tomorrow at noon. And then we have a special workshop coming up this coming Saturday. It's a Power of Purpose workshop put on by Beach Cities Health District. It'll be at 1:30. There's no cost. And what I love about this is people at all ages can really benefit, because sometimes when we retire, then we're kind of like, what's my purpose? And this workshop will really help. Or sometimes when we're just getting started out in life, we're like, what's my purpose? And this workshop will help. Or sometimes we're somewhere in the middle, but a lot of change has happened, and we're like, what's my purpose? And this workshop will help. It's free, and it'll be right in Richelieu Hall on Saturday at 1:30. I will be there. I'm really interested to see how they bring this, because Beach Cities does really good things. And synchronistically, on Monday morning, I went to a breakfast, and I met the woman who's going to be facilitating it, because I only had worked with the people who plan it. So I met her. She is a very dynamic woman, and she's been doing this Power of Purpose workshop for a number of years. So it's going to be good. Vegan potluck a week from today, 6 p.m. Bring a vegan dish and a friend. It's going to be wonderful. Forgiveness workshop is going to be on Sunday, August 24th, presented by myself. So if you've been following along with the forgiveness talks on Sunday, this is a chance to get hands-on and experiential with forgiveness and to get any questions answered that you might have. Drumming Circle is also on that Sunday at 12:30. And then Reverend Mary Morgan is going to offer a workshop called, drum roll please, Activating Your Ta-da Mindset. Activating Your Ta-da Mindset. That's going to be from Reverend Mary, and I read the write-up, and it's going to be really good. Flyers should be available very, very soon, if not already, in the lobby. Critical Thinking Workshop, Reverend Gregory Toole, myself, and practitioner Mark Ruth on Saturday, September 6th at 10 a.m. We live in a world where reality and non-reality are kind of like fuzzy, and it takes a lot of discernment and critical thinking to know when we're reading something on social media or in the news or somewhere else, is this something that's credible or not? So Mark and I are going to do a workshop on critical thinking, and it's going to be really good, because I got the social media piece where I can sniff out something false on social media like that, and I'm going to give you some clues. And Mark has this debate, and he's an attorney background, and so he's got the critical thinking thing way down. So it's going to be a great workshop, and it'll be offered on a love offering basis. Our office will be closed for Labor Day on Monday, September 1st, so don't come by. But we wish you all a nice Labor Day. And then because we're closed on the first Monday of the month, the Men's Spirit Group will meet on Monday, September 8th, the following Monday, so the second Sunday, just for this month, because of Labor Day. And then volunteer opportunities, which is a great way to connect into the center. If you don't have a place that you're currently volunteering, consider volunteering in hospitality, which is the group that's in the kitchen area, or the New Friends Table, which is out in the lobby where we greet new people every Sunday. Those two are welcoming new people to get involved. See Doris at the front desk for that. And then a really great project that Maureen McKinney takes on, the Rainbow Service School Supply Drive, to help students in need by donating school supplies. And there's a little bench out there where you can put the school supplies. Lost and found, if you're missing something, stop by the front desk, because we're now only going to keep things for 4 weeks because they just start getting to be like needing a whole storage area for them. So if you lost something, go check back there, and after that, we'll donate them somewhere after 4 weeks. Flyers for all our events can be found at the activity table in the lobby, and for a full list of our activities, see the weekly e-newsletter and Spirit Speaks magazine. A big thank you to all of our wonderful volunteers. We appreciate you so much. So many people do great service in the community here, and we couldn't do it without you. So thank you. Let's give them a hand. Let's give our volunteers a hand. Thank you, thank you. And take a breath after all these announcements. Today, our speaker is the wonderful Reverend Katherine McKinney, and she's got, there's 5 Wednesdays in August, and she's got 3 of them because I was supposed to do one and I was on jury duty, so she did last week, and then she was already scheduled today, and because there's a 5th Wednesday, she was already scheduled for the 5th Wednesday. So this month, on the Wednesday service, is going to be Reverend Katherine McKinney month. So come check out Reverend Katherine McKinney all month. Not next Sunday, not next Wednesday, but the following Wednesday she'll be back again. And without further ado, we're going to have a song from our wonderful lead musician, Elise Carver. Yay! Give her some love. Is that your new instrument?
Apparently it is. Apologies, everyone. That was a fun moment. I apologize. You know what? All right. Now, this song, I don't know who was necessarily there at the concert last Sunday, but this is a song by the wonderful Daniel Namod, as requested by Reverend Katherine this morning, and it's called Water. Well, I've seen my share of struggle when I thought that I knew best. When I sailed through a storm instead of stopping to rest. And it always seemed the hardest when I made up my stubborn mind. Well, I'm changing my ways this time. Wanna be like water coming down a mountain into shadowy canyons, floating from pool to stream. Wanna be like water, head up a hill no more. I am bound for the sea. Have you ever seen an eagle head straight into the wind? Well, he doesn't pick a fight, spreads his wings and just gives in. And in the end he always makes it home just fine. I guess he knows that every storm subsides. Wanna be like water coming down a mountain into shadowy canyons, floating from pool to stream. Wanna be like water, head uphill no more. I am bound for the sea. Well, I'll let nature take its course. No more thinking that I know where this river's meant to go. I've railed against the stars for the cards that I've been dealt, for the lottery I've never won, for the heartache that I felt. But it always seems when I let go of expectations and regret, life has plenty of surprises for me, yeah. I wanna be like water coming down a mountain into shadowy canyons, floating from pool to stream. Wanna be like water, head uphill no more. I am bound for the sea. Wanna be like water coming down a mountain into shadowy canyons, flow from pool to stream. Wanna be like water, head uphill no more. I am bound for the stream.
Thank you, Elise, very much. I did request that song. It kind of moves into what I am talking about today. You don't have to move at all unless you just want to. I'll just, yeah, it's fine. Ernest Holmes tells a story about a woman that he had an appointment with. It was a woman he didn't know. And he showed up for the appointment, and she came in, and he describes the way she looks, first of all. And he kind of goes into detail. And basically, he's saying she just looked worn. She looked faded, and she looked dated. And then he says she spoke words that were as sad and dejected as she looked. She said, "I want you to pray for me to die. I know I've thought about this before. I understand how it is, but I've made up my mind. And I've decided that I just don't have any purpose. There's nothing I can do. I don't know anybody. Nobody depends on me. Please pray for God to take me." Well, Ernest Holmes, you can imagine, was perhaps a little surprised. And he says, well, I explained to her a lot of the things that counselors would do in a time like this. You know, look on the bright side. There are a lot of things to do. There are ways you can meet people. You can get out and do things. And he said, I quoted a little scripture, and I talked about biblical situations. She said, look, I've made up my mind. This is what I want. And so, realizing that I was at the end of what I could do in this way, I paused, and then an idea came to me. He said, I'd like to try an experiment. Would you be willing to do that? Well, she must have been a little curious because she perked up. She said, well, sure. And he said, tell me, how much money do you have in your purse? And so she looked in. Now, this is the part where I tell you this is a really old story. She looked at her purse, and she says, I have $9.84, but all my bills are paid, and my pension check comes in next week. He said, wonderful, that's perfect. That's the exact amount you're going to need for what I propose. Now, the first thing, and he says, just a moment. And so he makes a phone call right in front of her to a woman he knows, it's a friend, who owns a beauty salon. And he says, I've got a woman here that needs an appointment. She needs a permanent. She may need some other grooming things. Can you take her? And the woman agreed because she'd had phone calls like this from Ernest Holmes before. And so he says, so there's 3 things I want you to do. I want you to take that appointment, and then I want you to go to a nice little dress shop. He may have even suggested one. He says it's summertime. Go out and buy a fun, summery frock and enjoy that. She said, oh, I've been shopping. There is nothing for a woman my age, nothing. He said, oh, well, are there things for someone who's 35? Well, yeah, but I'm 74. I'm not 35. He said, okay, just be 35 for when you're picking this out. After all, you're going to die, so what's the harm? You're just going to have some fun. And so then he gets to her shoes, and he said, you need a new pair of shoes. You need a perky pair of shoes to go with your new dress, and make them high heel. They need to be high heel. Oh, no, I don't wear high heels. I know these shoes are worn, but they're comfortable. They fit me. They're exactly what I want. He said, don't worry about that. Remember, you're going to die soon, so you may as well have some what? Get the high heels. So she reluctantly agrees, and they talk a little bit more. And he says, so come back in a week. So after 4 days, he's going hurrying down his corridor to the office that he had, because he was hurrying for an appointment. And he met this woman coming. She says, good morning. And he cordially greeted her and carried on. She goes, wait a minute. Don't you recognize me? He says, sincerely, I did not. She was transformed. Everything about her was transformed. She looked different. Her clothing was different, yes, but her whole air about her had changed. She was more optimistic. He goes on and talks about that a little bit more. But one of the points he's making is this feeling that she had of being too old and that nothing was left for her was really in her mind. And that's what we're talking about. What we think, how we get to where we are, is a product of our minds. Now, what he also says, he says that psychologists think it, he said, and I believe, the mind does not age. So why is it then that as people get older, they begin to get a little more stooped? They may stumble as they walk. It's not their mind. What happens? And so he moves on and talks about the mind is a lot like a factory where things are humming along until something breaks. And then it doesn't get fixed and it sort of doesn't work as well. And so he's thinking about all of these things and how we get to where we are. Ernest Holmes tells us, you've heard it before, you could probably repeat it with me. There's a power for good in the universe and I can use it. You've heard that, and it's true. What is also true is that there is a power for good in the universe, and I am using it all the time. We are creating our experience by what we think. See, there's also emblazoned on the wall out there, I'm pointing the right way, out there on the wall, Dr. Frank's tile that he's put up, and the truth shall set you free. And that is also a true statement. But what does it mean? And Reverend Gregory was talking about that this morning when he was talking about the workshops that are coming. He was mentioning that or alluding to that. See, the truth is that we are always God expressing. Always. And so when we do something, create something in our lives that doesn't turn out so well, whose fault is that? Well, it's their fault. They should have. It shouldn't have. It was supposed to. It's not my fault. It's not my fault. And yet everything that happens to us happens by our own thinking. The title of this talk is The Divine is Always Listening, not discerning, not trying to decide, ooh, I don't think that's what they want. The divine is always listening. What you speak, what you think, what you are is what outpictures in your life. And so it follows then that if you're thinking, I'm too old, I don't have any friends, there's nothing for me to do, I can't. Well, of course, what is she getting? She even looked faded to Ernest Holmes. Her whole demeanor was faded. I can't go on and tell you that story, and it's a true story, according to Ernest Holmes. It has an incredible ending. Within 6 months, she meets someone who is smitten with her, and they plan to marry. And Ernest Holmes said, at about a year after she came in to his office, he performed this ceremony, and they lived happily for a very long time. What changed? Well, she changed her mind. Now, Ernest Holmes definitely provided that avenue for that. There's no question. And I believe, and Ernest Holmes doesn't claim this, but when we open to the divine, as he did when he said, what I'm doing is not working, and he pauses, the divine steps in with, let's try an experiment. I know, and I bet every one of you at some time have had this thing where I didn't know what to do, and then something comes to us. Something. It does not have to be an earth-changing thing like you would change your entire life, but it's what you are looking for. And it just comes because that's the inspiration. In order to do that, we want to be open, and we don't clutter it up by complaining and whining and doing all kinds of things about which we can do nothing in the first place. Now, what is it when there are things we don't like in the world? Are there things you don't like in the world? I can raise my hand high. There are things I don't like, but I'm learning, because I'm not perfect in my execution of this, that I cannot change that thing of my own self. If there are things that I can change, then I can step in. That's easy. It's when there are things that are out there that we struggle with. We don't like it, and we want it to be different. Well, the only person that we can change is who? Ourselves. And so how do I change myself? Well, for one thing, I can stop stimulating it with things that I know are disagreeable to me or limited. That's an easy thing to do, really. But another thing I can do is something. Each of us may be inspired to do something. And one of the things I can tell you, and I think the whole reason I am talking about this today, what came to me was something that was in announcements on Sunday. Jan was reading the announcements, and she was talking about volunteering, and she said that the beach cities, their work that they're doing says that people who volunteer are healthier and live longer lives. And so the reason that struck a chord with me is because if I am nothing, I'm a volunteer. I have volunteered since before I got to this church. I volunteered at elementary school, at middle school, at high school, in multiple ways. So when I came here, I began to volunteer. I used to think of myself as a professional volunteer because there's something within me that wants to do that. But what I learned, and I think I learned the first piece of it, the very first time I cooked a meal for here. I had to beg whoever gave me permission 4 months to be able to cook breakfast one Sunday morning after services. Didn't want to let me do. She didn't know me from Adam's house cat. And so she didn't trust. She kept saying no or would put me off, but I'm persistent. So I kept going back. Finally, the woman said yes. I don't even remember who it was. And so I spent a ridiculous amount of time getting ready for it, made a ridiculous amount of food. But when it was over, several people really enjoyed the breakfast, and they told me that. And when I got out in the car, I think my back hurt a little bit, my feet hurt, it drained out of me, but I realized I hadn't felt that good, and I don't know how long. It felt good to do that. Now, I learned from that experience, and it didn't make me volunteer more, because I think that was already in my, whatever it is, in my personality. But I know that it has benefited me. And along the way, the other thing I realized is that I grew in patience and understanding and in mere generosity by working in the kitchen. We had a woman who's not here anymore, and she made the comment grudgingly that if you want to learn something, then get in the kitchen. Because people bring themselves to all of these events. Did you know that? If they're rude somewhere, they can be rude in the kitchen, even to our wonderful hospitality people. I had someone come up to me one time when I was working at the counter. I was long since was directing hospitality for the most part, that I was standing there and somebody slapped that kettle of coffee down and said, "You are out of coffee." And I said, "Well, actually, you're out of coffee. And would you like me to get you another pot?" "Well, yes." I said, "Okay." And so I took and brought him another pot. And that it wasn't his fault, it must be my fault or somebody's fault. And that need to be critical, to be that, I don't have to accept that, do I? And yet, when clerks receive rudeness, sometimes they respond irresponsibly. I think they're extremely well trained in many retail places because I've seen the forbearance. Someone in front of me behaving badly. I think I even mentioned in a talk one time, I was in Sprouts and saw some woman, she was beautifully dressed in this spring dress with this straw hat. She was just a gorgeous lady. And what she said to the man was horrible. She used the F-bomb. I mean, she was really just with the voice, with everything. I later spoke to him. It was some other time. And I just said, I witnessed that, and I just want you to know I thought you handled it beautifully. I mean, that man has gone out of his way to help me every time I go to Sprouts just because I said that to him, but he did. He just stood there and took it like the good, trained person that he was. And so all of us take our best selves somewhere, and all of us take our worst selves somewhere, sometime. We have choices. So when Dr. Anita said people came to her with problems, she said, would counsel about this and that, she said, but I want you to do two things. I want you to volunteer, and I want you to tithe. So what I would say is whether you call it a tithe or you just give. And giving is not just money. Giving is giving of yourself, your kindness, your compassion. And it is absolutely money at times. Even if it's a small amount, you're giving. And she felt that circulation was going to improve this person's life. The volunteering was going to take them out of themselves and allow them to serve. And she was a wise woman, Dr. Anita Richelieu. And so the song today that Elise sang, it's the chorus that really, really moves me. Want to be like water coming down the mountain, flowing into shadowy canyons, moving from pool to stream. Want to be like water, going uphill no more. I am bound for the sea. So the writer, Daniel Nahmad, is affirming to himself that I've done all this other stuff, that I'm not going to do that anymore. I am going to not uphill anymore. I'm not going to make it hard for myself. Now, if you were at the concert on Sunday, you may have heard Daniel say, sometimes I'm hypocritical when I sing these songs. And he's saying, essentially, that sometimes I do go uphill, or some other comment like that. I didn't tell him, and I may yet send him an email. But see, I don't think he's being hypocritical. I think he's being aspirational. When we say that I am a child of God, and I live in that idea, that goodness, that flow, because the flow of goodness is always there. We may get in its way, but the flow is there. And so we simply say that. So if we do let a boulder roll into our path, it doesn't mean we're being hypocritical. We just need to move the boulder and let the flow continue again. It was an inspiring time for me to even put remarks together like this, because I believe everything that I'm saying. And Ernest Holmes closes this writing with someone else's words. But what he says at the end is that asks us to let us make up our minds. Let us make up our minds that yesterday is gone forever. And to get today is a brand new day. We are on the threshold of a new moment. And so what I am knowing, as the scripture says, behold, I make all things new. And so in my closing, I would encourage you to repeat that with me. Let us know that yesterday is gone forever. Yesterday is gone forever. That's your turn. Today is a new day. I'm on the threshold in this moment of something new. And I say, behold, let all things be new. And so it is. Thank you all so much for being attentive and a wonderful audience. Thank you. So we have our opportunity for the collection. And so I'm not sure where it is. There we go. And so this is the opportunity to donate. And I was not encouraging donation so much is what I'm saying, but I think that Dr. Anita understood that giving was truly a part of receiving. If you go and counsel and you're looking for something, then give something and get something back. It doesn't matter what it is you're getting. There is a circulation that happens. These are just opportunities here, ways to give money to the center. And there's a phone number, and there is the website, which is absolutely useful, and there is the scan. And I always say, if you've never done the scan, it is just fun to do. And so just to say you did. And we also have the way that I give, which is to give online. I give online regularly, and I'm happy to do that. So however we give, but knowing that we give something, because that's what's important. We say, with our affirmation, when they're ready back there, divine love consecrates my gift. It goes forth to heal, to bless, and to prosper all who give and all who receive. I rejoice in the sharing of my good, and I release my gift with love. And so it is. Thank you. So we shall entertain. Oh, no, we're not. We're going to have a song. I did remember.
This song is called Amazing Things, and it's by Megan McDonough and Jana Stanfield.
You will do amazing things with the choice each new day brings, and with every step you take, bless the progress that you make. The reason you live is found in every gift you give. Love your life, love your dreams. You will do amazing things. Amazing, amazing. You will do amazing things. Just enjoy what this day brings, 'cause you will do amazing. So close your eyes and take a breath and smile. Amazing, amazing. You will do amazing things. Amazing, amazing. You will do amazing things. You will do amazing things.
It's a wonderful song. I first heard that at a graduation, so it was sending people off. You will do amazing things. Does anyone have a prayer request or a question or a comment, and just talk about how you're feeling on this Wednesday? Mr. Kent, I think you need to wait for that microphone. I definitely need to have it.
Good morning. Just want to say thank you so much for a wonderful message. And Elise on the music also. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Kent. Anyone else? You know, there's so many wonderful things happening in our center, courses, classes, and there's even a class that's being offered called Roots that I am teaching starting September the 4th, I think, if that's a Thursday. It's, it's a busy time. As Reverend Gregory said, that's why it takes as long as it does to share announcements, because so many things are going on. And they're all good things, and everybody won't do everything, but it's just opportunities to choose. So any other questions? Because it's okay if you don't have a question. You're settled. I'm good if you're good. And so it is.